Hello, welcome to The Boring Show.
Hi, I'm Fitz.
I'm Emily, again.
Yes, and today we're going to be working on DashCast again. And what we're going to be looking at is a couple of things. We're going to look at the playback button, which we noticed the other day is playing always from the URL, whether we downloaded the file or not.
So we're just doing download work for nothing and then throwing it away. So we'll fix that up.
Yep, and then the next thing we're going to do is we've got this download button that once it finishes downloading,
it's still there.
the button is still there. So we want to do something about that too. That's going to be our goal for the day. But first,
we're going to clean up some code, do some refactoring, because everything is in one big file and it's starting to get a little big and could be organized better.
yes.
Sometimes there are just methods that are just floating around.
Yeah, just like
classes.
out there, up here, for example, we've got this download path. We're going to do something about that.
Yeah, global functions, not so fun. But first, before that, we have some listener questions.
Yeah, so Mr. Random, on the last time we had
DashCast,
asked, how did he do that? And so Matt, what he's referencing there is he did this command to collapse all of the classes and methods down. And the way he did that was doing Command K0 on Mac or
Control K0 on PC. And you can also do this for any level of collapsing. So that collapses all the top level stuff and everything below it. If you do like K1, it's one level in. K2, it's two levels in, so you can get like all your methods collapsed, but keep your classes open. And if you have collapse regret, you can Command KJ to expand them all again.
Yes. So just to recap for the screen, Command K2 will bring us down to method level. Command KJ will reset it all, open everything up. Great. We also had a question from Nightseeker about posting the link to the source code and repository. Yes, we can add that to the description.
Yeah, it is right here. DashCast on Matt's GitHub at the moment. But you can also check out the link in the description.
Yes. Okay.
So, refactoring.
So
first,
yeah.
Well, okay. It seems like we've got a whole bunch of code. I think one way to start breaking it up might be we've got the podcast list page and then the playback or the playing page.
Right.
Might want to break those into two files just so we've got a little less code in each.
Yep, that makes sense. So I love how the scroll bar is giving this nice indication of how much code there is in here. The playback buttons are all the way down, or the player page rather is all the way down here. So maybe taking most of this and pulling it out into its own page.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. It's going to need probably all of this. Yeah. Yep, that looks good. Is there an auto refactor thing I could do?
Oh.
To pull this out? No refactoring available. Okay.
I guess we better just keep it all in one file.
Yep.
Sorry, everyone.
All right, what should we name this file?
Player.
All right, there's that. We'll cut that and paste it in here. We'll have to do some imports, material, and provider, and wait, what did that? Oh, it imported main. Okay, so we have to also import provider and main, and
there's more problems.
There's more problems. This always happens with refactoring. We have things to fix. Okay, Flutter sound is here. It's probably not needed in main then anymore. Yep. Okay, so we can remove that from main. And in player, keep going. Dart async. And
you want to go
yes. Yep. Because
we may need to also import the player from main.
Yeah. So let's do that. There. Okay. Excellent. Now that might just work. Let's give it a shot.
Seems plausible. You definitely need to do a full restart on that because we just moved a whole bunch of stuff around, redefined them in different files.
Yeah, but it seems to work fine.
Woohoo!
Excellent. Okay, so that was a nice, easy refactoring. Now our main is at least a little bit smaller. Yeah, in fact, our little preview doesn't go all the way down anymore. Okay, so our goal here was, right, to get this play button to play from the actual downloaded file, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do we want to fix that random get download function, path function?
You
It's
know,
just
probably.
floating around.
Yeah, we should probably fix that. What do we want to do with it?
Where is it getting called?
It's getting called from this podcast provider. So we've got this podcast change notifier here, and it's called in there.
Called there?
I think it's only called there.
Why do we have a global
Go
function?
to references. Yep, that's it. That's the only one.
Cool. Let's just stick it in there then.
Yeah. Let's put it down here and reformat. And sure enough, no problems. Seems like that's the only one.
All right. Is there anything else big that we want to do first before we start coding up stuff? Or small?
Or small.
It seems a little odd that we have our main just like floating in the middle of all of our class definitions.
Right. So if we do our Command K 0 to collapse everything, it's just hanging out there in the middle. Do we pull that back up top?
Yeah. Well, and okay, so we've got this change notifier. I don't know if we could alternatively pull that into a separate thing as well, because like that's kind of our state stuff, or like backend state stuff.
Right. So then it doesn't move main. It's moving our change notifiers into something else. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Because I feel like, yeah, that's the main thing that like player is also referencing, if I recall.
Yeah.
So that just pulls out the state into a separate place.
Okay. Let's create a new file. Notifiers?
Sure.
Okay. So notifiers.
You're planning ahead. So many more notifiers.
I know.
In state.
For all of our, I don't know, one notifiers. All right. What do we need to import here? HTML. That doesn't sound right.
Well, we have to you have to like parse, like get the stuff from HTML and stuff. It seems possible.
But that was off of the file that it recommended HTML. Just curious. Just going through and updating all of our imports.
It's pretty nice that our IDE makes this very easy.
Yes. I'm just hitting Command dot for all of these and accepting its suggestions. Path provider?
Yeah.
Okay.
To get where we download our stuff.
Yeah. And then this looks like we need async.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's not being suggested very nicely.
Well, so that's because we said something as path. We created
I see.
little prefixes, import prefixes.
Yeah, so in fact, these ones that are unused here now, I can just cut and paste into here. Right? And that one is errored because I already did that.
You want to do your HTTP one again?
Yeah. Cut those out. Put them in here. So that file is being used elsewhere, and we do HTTP. Reformat, and make those look nice. Okay.
Still have 12 problems.
Woohoo! Okay. Name podcast isn't a type because we need to now import that from main. So now we've imported our notifiers as well as our player page. From player. Okay. We'll have to do the same in our podcast, our main.
And player now says it doesn't need to import main. Like,
Yes.
it just needs to import
Right, because it needed main for the provider that we now moved out.
Oh, question. Go back.
To
you
player?
Probably, you want to do the like package colon because
Okay.
generally, sometimes when you mix your imports, things get weird. Yes.
Right.
Cool.
Excellent. And we'll probably need to do the same thing in main for when we import the notifier from here, which I'll just copy that, change this to notifiers. Yep. Ah, look at that. All of our problems have been solved. No more problems. Everything's fine.
There's 2 problems.
That's just these look like unused.
Oh, okay.
They're
Sorry.
more
They're not.
warnings than
They're issues.
Yes, issues rather than problems. We all have many issues, but all of our problems are done.
Great.
Yep. All right, I'm going to do a full restart just to double check that things work okay.
Uh-oh.
We're just spinning.
Oh, no.
So... Connection terminated. That's not what I would have expected. Let's just try again.
I might just kill it and start afresh.
Okay. Let's do that. Just full stop and we'll
Sometimes when it gets exceptions, I'm like...
Yeah, just clear state. Start clean.
Let's see. Connection terminated. You're connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Although if that's the
double
issue...
check that.
We should
yes.
We should definitely future proof against that so that we're not so we can handle not being connected.
Right.
Building.
Which definitely is something that a mobile podcast app would want to have. You're not going to have connection all the time.
Yes. But the first part of that is being able to play from the downloads that we have.
Yes. Having that offline mode in some way. Okay, that looks much better.
Okay, I'm going to blame that on the refactored.
Okay, that sounds great.
It's, / us not having internet connection, but
yep.
We're going to stick that on the to-do list for later.
Yep. Okay, so we've got our notifiers pulled out, which I've got a bunch of empty lines here that we can fix. So now our main isn't just hanging out randomly.
It's great when it's not hanging out randomly.
Yep.
Path suffix.
That's what I was just wondering. So where is this used? Go to references.
Time to delete.
I guess it's not used. Why is it not? Oh, I guess it's a constant then, so we can just...
And then is our URL used anywhere other than in notifiers? In which case we could move it there too.
Oh, it's used...
Wait, we also have it? Oh, no, sorry.
To initialize the first use of the notifier.
I feel like that should be inside my app rather than just a global hanging out.
Yeah, okay, we can move it there.
It's slightly better.
Yeah. Okay, so now we don't have any globals. We've got a couple of things factored out into their own files. It's feeling a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. So, time to play from download, maybe?
I think so.
Okay, so let's go to player. And where do we hit play?
Our play button. We have audio controls. Go to playback buttons, which is a stateful widget because I think of this Flutter sound and a bunch of the other status variables.
Has to be initialized once.
Yeah. Then we have fast forward, rewind, up, and play. There we go. Okay, so right now we're passing the GUID from the RSS item.
And that, I believe, is just a URL for the RSS feed.
Right. Okay, which makes sense. We're calling it a URL in play. So we should be able to, so we should be able to check to see if this item has been downloaded already.
Where are we storing?
I think that's part of the notifier.
Wait, so we have download status it's whether or not it's downloaded. Okay.
Right, and is this just a map of all of the episodes, whether they're downloaded or not?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But so like where do we have the path to the download?
So that's used with, we have our get download path, we pass it so this thing calculates the path. But then the actual file here.
Do we just throw it away?
No, we use.
Well, we write to it, but then it's like.
Yeah, then we're done.
That was fun.
Yeah, great. We wrote to a file.
So we're just like slowly taking up more and more space on our phone. Let's look at the download status map. I feel like we could, like when do we even write to that? Like we could just convert that to a like string to string, and it's like or an RSS item to string file path.
Yeah. Okay.
Or just a file.
Or just file object, yeah.
Probably file, because so that we can so we don't just have like open file objects all the time. Probably not ideal.
Yeah, true.
But okay.
So it's not used at all right now. So we just have a download status. No worries.
It's been a little while since we've.
It was a great idea to have this.
Yeah. Was it though?
Well, now we can make use of it. So.
Well, we can change it.
Yeah. So what you were suggesting having this be like RSS item
to a string, I think.
And that would be the file path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we should rename it and all that jazz.
Let's see.
Download
locations. Did I spell correctly? Okay. And then that means within download, maybe part of the download complete, we could add it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we can say.
Are we passing in the item up top to ask to be downloaded?
Yes.
Yes. So
yeah.
Just item to.
So put if absent the item, and
we could assign this get download path to some string above, or we could say file that. I think there's like file that path, but we already have it, so it's kind of like.
Okay, there's a file that path, but let's do good code hygiene and pull this out. Can I do like an extract to variable? Aha!
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay, so let's call it file path.
Mm-hmm.
And then why is that?
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe because it's not formatting because I had this.
Because it's an error.
Yeah. What? String function? How did I define that up here?
So string, no, it's thinking that the file path is a string function. Let's see. What is get download path? Future of string.
And we're waiting, so it should be resolving.
Also curious that it's not complaining here.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. No, you're right. You read it right. It thinks that download locations is taking a script string function.
Is it this? Oh, yeah. So it's this. I don't know what is put if absent doing there?
It's expecting a function it will execute that function
I see.
if it is absent. And when it returns, like, well, you could just like assign it like a regular map. Yeah, that could work. Like you could do a lambda thing, but like that's just more code.
Right.
And
yeah, might as well just do this.
Because like, in theory, we should only be doing this once, and even if we do more than once, we probably want the most recent download. So we probably want it to overwrite.
Yeah, and this path is based on the item's UID anyway, so it should be the same all the time.
I see. So you were saving a little work, but like...
Yeah, well...
We're going to make our UI so that you can only do it once.
Exactly. Okay, so now we have the download location stored.
Do we need that print function? That was probably a...
debugging thing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Which means from the player... So do we have a handle on the notifier here?
Let's see.
Provider. Oh, right there. So, okay. That's the specific item.
We should... if you pull out a variable, just provider.of_podcast, that'll give the full podcast. And then we can... Okay. That's what we want to select.
Wrong button.
All the files.
Yeah. Void using built-in.
Just a note on like why we're structuring it this way, because it feels a little bit like, to me, it feels like the download should be just like another field with that item itself, because a download is connected to the item. It's not like all the podcasts, but RSS item is like this external library defined thing for processing, for parsing RSS feeds. So like we can't really add our own fields. We could maybe we can come back to this, but like we could wrap RSS item and like stick a field that says,
oh, I see. So then we'd have like a podcast item or episode, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it has an RSS item and then the fields within it. Yeah.
We'll stick with this and then we'll come back to it.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So now I have the podcast pulled out and we're getting the specific item there. So in here, is here where we'd want to say like if that download status is not, or the download location
in the map.
Yeah.
If the item's in the map.
So
you should be able to do a really quick little like question mark thing. Because if it's not in the map, it'll return null. And so you should just be able to say download location of item, does it exist?
Item.
If so, you just return it. Otherwise, item good.
So we want to do
item just good, right?
Yeah.
That's the if it's not there.
Yeah.
Then we fall back on the streaming version.
So
and you don't have to do you don't have to specify type for a local variable.
Okay.
Bar.
All right. And then we pass in the URL.
And on the specifying type thing, it's just like, it's pretty obvious what if like we had some really complex compound type, maybe it's worth expressing a local variable, but in this case it's simple enough that
Yep. And mostly I have other languages on my fingers, so I end up typing other things, but that's good to know. Okay,
I think that's it.
That might be it. All right, let's save it.
We should actually print out in this else block what the URL is so we can know what we are actually playing. In theory, like we'll know because it'll play faster because we won't have to like stream, but this will be for sure.
Yes. Okay. So I've added our lovely printf debug in here. I'm gonna do a full restart just to make sure because we've changed things in random places. Let's download this first episode. Stroke with.
Okay, We'll have to
I can find that somewhere.
Someone's been debugging elsewhere too.
Yeah. All right. What is this? Tried calling instance of.
Uh-oh.
No such method. The method that was called on null. Oh, we didn't initialize our download locations.
Oh. Womp womp.
Yep. Okay, so up here, let's start. Can we just do like that?
Yep.
To initialize it? Okay. And let's try again. Oh, do I need to do a full restart again?
Yes, because we're doing stuff outside the build method.
Yes. Okay.
So many stroke widths.
So many stroke. I want to find those stroke widths. Stroke width.
Why? Why are we printing those?
Looks like the
Beacon Painter.
Is that this down bottom bar part of that?
Which we need to have some words with our coworkers because we haven't seen the previous episode and we don't know why there's a hot tub.
Yeah, there's definitely a hot tub though. Yeah, there it is, that icon hot tub.
And they didn't comment it either, so we're really at a loss as to what's going on here.
Why is there a hot tub?
Help us, Craig.
In the meantime,
we wanted to ask them, but they were on vacation.
Yes,
so.
We're just gonna remove that print of stroke width so we can get our errors.
But it's 0.
Yeah, it's always 0 as far as I can tell. Maybe that's what they were trying to figure out.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna hit download. Okay, there's no null error, which is great. And we removed the download complete print.
Yes.
So it might be done. It might not be done. Let's find out. So the way we can find out is we can hit play here and see. Oh.
We're also printing out. Oh my gosh, so many debug. Wait, cut this. We were printing out like how much progress we're making.
Yeah. So
if you turn on the volume, you can hear it playing. But
volume.
Because we really want it. Okay, so it is doing things.
Share a bit about
it's playing. Great. Playing URL. That looks like a local path, which is great. Okay, that's what we wanted.
Woo!
I'm going to comment out this current position
printing.
It's
like, we got that covered.
Yeah. Also, I think I'm going to lose my scroll back on this soon if I don't have this.
Right.
Okay, so that's working. I'm going to do a restart again so we can actually get this to stop going. Okay. I'm actually curious if So I've restarted the app and the first episode is already downloaded. I should be able to click into it and then hit play and it plays. Okay, but the status has been reset.
Well, because we restarted the app. So like it's already initialized. And so that map doesn't have anything.
Right, because we're not saving to shared preferences or anything like that.
Yeah. That can...
Another to-do potentially.
Yeah.
Let's add it over here somewhere.
Because what's the good of downloading something if you have to re-download every time you reopen your app?
Exactly. So to do save. Okay. So that's for a future time. So that seems to be our first to do. Yay. We finished. We got our playing from download.
Our first to do. No. Yes, cool. So we also I mentioned how we should fix the UI so that the user cannot just download repeatedly, and so that that map will only be written to once for each episode.
Yep, because right now when we hit the download button, it'll download. We get our nice message that it's downloading. And then I hit it again. It's going to download again. Which is, I'm curious why we didn't get another message, but
maybe it is being smart. But it is kind of, well, it's curious that the Snackbar still came up and everything.
Yeah. Where's the Snackbar coming up? Oh, from main. We have our Snackbar.
So on press, doing the thing. Let's look into download. Maybe it is checking. Although I don't remember it being that smart.
We check our things. We get our download path. Does download path find it? No, it just builds a path. We have our
and that's where it
file.
prints. Wait, try downloading. Hit the download button again.
Why is it not calling it again?
Get download. That's there.
Yeah, and it just gets the last bit of the item's URL.
Can you get to that function again? Get documents. There's no checking.
Yeah.
It doesn't. VS Code doesn't like
dedupe messages.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
because we had all those stroke widths before.
Yeah.
Go back to main and see where we're calling that again.
On pressed. Yeah, we just download.
That looks all expected.
Huh. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Second to do is done. It doesn't re-download. Except it does.
Well, we're not,
Oh, look. So, wait. Another message showed up eventually.
we just can't scroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Oh, there. No. Okay. So it's.
Oh, it's just taking
coming
a long
in.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Everything is working as expected. Just badly.
Again, we all have issues. We have no problems, but we have plenty of issues.
Oh boy. All right. So, yes. Let us. When the download is complete, we should make that little arrow disappear.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. What do we have? Some sort of. All right. Well, let's ignore that connection problem for the moment.
Maybe that's why things are slow.
Yeah, could be.
So is this this get download? Are we returning like a future anything? Oh, we have that callback.
Yeah. So are we using that callback? I don't think we are. No.
Okay. It's also interesting that we have a future and a callback. Like usually I would think you would just do one. Like.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Let's look at the code. So
callback is not null. We are returning.
Oh, the callback is like updates. Okay.
Oh.
All right. I'll give you that. Give you that, Matt.
Yeah. All right. I guess that makes sense. It. So when we pass in this callback, we're wanting to check then that it's finished, that it's a complete.
Well, okay. So I think actually there's two options here. One, I feel like that callback should be called like updates or something.
Yeah,
update
like status updates or yeah.
Because when I thought callback, I thought when it's done.
That's what I thought too at first.
And so there's that. But the other thing is, we do want to know when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
There are two ways we could do it. One, we could return a future because right now we're just returning void and we got that future thing there.
Yep.
Or because we're already passing callback, we could do a second callback. Because I feel like I'm inclined to lean towards the future route.
Yeah, I think I am too.
Okay.
All right. So first thing, I think we agreed to rename this callback.
We agreed.
It's been decided unanimously that callback is going to be called updates instead. Did that update everything? Yes, great. So that was F2 on the variable name from VS Code to just change the variable name. And then we're going to change this to a future. What do we want it to return?
What does it give us? So this res stream is a future. Oh, you're saying yeah, but we can change.
We can do whatever we want.
We can do whatever we want.
Anything.
The code is at our bidding. We want
like a Boolean of successful download or not, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Bool. This function doesn't return. Okay. Yes, because
Shame on you.
I haven't returned anything. Wonderful. Okay, so successful download. It's not yet. And then we can just say, am I doing poor code hygiene?
Can't we just convert this? So like, okay, when complete, what does when complete return? I believe it had returns a future. Yeah, future.
Yeah.
So we should be able, maybe this is what, maybe you're right. Yeah. I think I was gonna say we should be able to like map convert or something, but like
oh, I see.
I don't because we have the when complete catch error. I think you're right. I think we have to have a variable then.
And then return it outside. We probably need to await this.
Right.
If this is all returning. So let's do that, and then we can return success at the end.
And yeah. Now, hold on.
Okay.
We need...
Holding on.
We need... I guess that works. I was going to say... I was thinking of like a completer. To say like... It's complete and success has the value.
Oh, I see.
But that could work too.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to look up completer and remind myself.
While you're doing that, I'm going to go back to main and actually make use of this return.
Great.
Okay. Well, our download is returning a future, and I don't want to await in the onPressed.
Sorry, I can only read documentation or listen to you. Tell me again, what's the question?
I don't want to await the download here because I still want the snackbar to show when it begins.
Yeah, but that's a future. So
okay, great.
We just wanted after that you can say like dot then, and then either.
What are you thinking?
Well, I was like, so we've got all this. What we actually want is that arrow downward to go away. And it's obviously not going to go away and deepen the onPress function. So I was like, so there's future builder waits for the future to complete. But like, we have to put that outside.
So we'd have to wrap the icon button potentially with that.
Yeah. Or
even further up.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, okay. I'm holding on again.
What if we instead are just we were listening, we just used our provider stuff. And so
that's true, we do have that.
Because we write to the file when it's done. We should check to see when we're writing, or to the map.
To the map, yeah.
And we could write to the map and notify listeners that there's an update. This is not awesome because it'll notify every
single listener.
This actually makes more motivation for that like wrapped RSS item that we were talking about.
Right, because then we could listen just to that item.
But like, that seems like so then we notify listeners and we just have a consumer of that particular thing.
Okay. So
does that seem reasonable?
I think so.
Okay.
So that's instead of all this success stuff that I added.
No,
undo all that.
And so we're only writing when complete. So that's
Yep, exactly. So then we can notify listeners here as well that we're done. And so then that gives every single button an option.
It's gonna they're all gonna be notified.
Right, which includes our player as well, Well, it's not active on this page, but still.
So what we want is, hey, good thing you haven't named it notifiers. Because we're going to have another change notifier.
Yep.
Because what I was going to say is we want to make this, I think instead of having this notify the podcast object, we want to notify the individual.
Yeah. So you're suggesting we break this out into the little items?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that seem like a terrible mistake?
No, it just...
Just as work.
This is work. All this work. Okay. All this coding. What are we doing?
Yeah, they stick us on camera. Come on.
Okay, so I'm going to call it an episode. And so we're saying has...
It's going to, I would say, extend RSS item.
Okay.
And then, because we want to have everything that RSS item plus the download location.
Yeah.
And notify.
Okay, so we've got our episode is an RSS item, and we want our download location is just a string. And so this item we could probably change this to an episode now.
Yeah.
And we might not need this
at all.
Now.
I think it should go away.
This is also an episode, as is this. Just change all of our RSS items. Oh.
Our code will love us.
Our code will have no problems.
Our analyzer will love us. And that download thing, I think, should just move down to the episode, right? Because
we're downloading an episode, not the podcast.
And so you could be like selected episode or hey, individual episode download.
Yes. Okay. So this whole download method comes out into here, and instead of setting this
download location,
Yep, we set our specific location. Okay, now we have a bunch of problems, but we'll get there. Our get download path also has
issues
to move
and
down.
Problems.
Yes. So now our get download path is moved as well. What are our remaining problems? Download isn't defined for podcast. Yes, because we moved that to episode. Download locations isn't defined for podcast. Yes, because we moved that to the episode, which is in
selected.
It's in the item now.
Location.
There we go.
Cool.
That fixes that problem. The rest of these are all to-dos.
Why is this a hot tub?
Okay, so here, instead of saying we're downloading we want, which is the index of the RSS item. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, interesting.
So, do we want to have like our map first converts them to episodes, but that's gonna rebuild every single time.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What have we done?
If we instead, let's see, how does RSS feed? Where does that come from? We're passing it in. Why are we passing it in? I thought that was the whole point of provider.
Yeah, where is it coming from? List view probably comes from the episodes page, be my guess. Just expand everything. Yeah, okay, so then that's
Podcast.
But it's coming from the
Okay, so if we change podcast.feed to instead return a constructed list of episodes instead,
Okay.
I think we can solve our problems.
So feed here is just returning the feed.
So instead, we need...
Which is constructed as part of that initialization, because that's called in our top level.
Right.
main, somewhere up here, right there.
Let's check where else is feed being used. If it's doing anything else
Okay.
special.
Feed. Go to references. So it's called twice in main. So that's that first usage that we looked at, which is the same one. That's internal implementation, and then it's used to get the image.
Okay.
But we could pull that out as well as part of that parse, because it's just getting the URL, not downloading it until that point, right?
Yeah.
So we could cache the URL in the notifier.
I'm just wondering if do we need to make a episode feed, like our own, or should we? Or is it
I see what you're
better
saying.
to just pull out individual things? It's probably better to make an episode feed.
Probably.
Okay. Work.
All right.
Don't sound so happy about it, Vince.
Episode feed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Extends RSS feed. Does it need to be a change notifier?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So that should just take an RSS feed as its constructor, and then for probably loop through all the items and make them episodes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I know none of this is great. Yeah, I know it's empty. So we're saying that for each feed item.
Map, maybe? It doesn't know the types yet.
Yeah, okay.
Final RSS feed.
Feed. Map.
Oh, probably the items.
Items, yes. We just do like a for each.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what do we want to do with them? We are
make episodes, I believe. So we'll pass in item or I for each I.
For each I, yep, getting there.
You still need the parentheses like you had them. And then just say episode I.
Yes, okay.
And
then we need to have a constructor here.
One thing. So this should return. Oh, is this for each void?
Yeah,
I think we want to map, and because we want to hold that list so we can have it for later. So, and then store. Oh yeah, sorry, you're gonna fix that.
Yeah, I was gonna fix the constructor here. This is the RSS item itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. So then this dot item. Okay.
And then
we're storing this in
another variable.
Just
probably it could be public.
Just like
we can call it items. We could override. Would that work? Yeah, we should be able to override items
within the because it's in the constructor, or I guess any.
Well, because we're extending. Dot to list.
Oh yeah. Okay. Great.
And we should, in this case, specify a type because it's like a public-facing API.
Done.
Cool. Okay. And actually, we should probably make this list of episodes so that we know that we can look up the download location. Cool.
Awesome. Okay. Now we need to change our podcast thing to use this.
Yes.
Which we should be able to just start replacing these.
Okay, so then we're gonna have to just. I thought that we could. That's why we extended it. Why is it?
I thought so too.
What's the error?
Oh, because that's a static
It's
method. Okay. It's because it's initializing it to.
Okay, so we'll add our static method that calls the other.
So have our own parse that calls super and then calls our own constructor.
That calls the other static method.
Yeah. Yeah. This is fun. Okay, so we need a parse which returns an RSS feed or episode feed, I guess. Parse, and this is a static thing. And it takes a URL.
And then we just return RSS feed.
RSS feed dot parse.
And then we're gonna have to wrap it in a
XML string. I guess for consistency, I'll name these the same.
We need to wrap it in an episode feed.
Episode feed. Like that?
Yeah.
And then up here we can do our that. Okay, so now we have our feed, episode feed, with the list of episodes. So we were doing this all so we could go into main and have that list constructed with episodes that we could get the download status from, right?
Yes. Should we run this just to make sure?
That's probably safe. We can't.
The download thing is not going to work, but
yeah.
we still have more problems.
I think this is our only actual problem. The rest are issues.
Okay.
Okay, let's just comment that out for now.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to do something different.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, red screen. Data. Non-null string must be passed to the text widget. Where? From there.
What are we listing?
We are listing the map of the items from the feed, which here is defined as an RSS feed. Should we change this to an episode feed?
Where is that being?
But it should be the same still.
Where is that being?
Passed in?
Yeah.
From here, which comes from the podcast feed.
Which is an episode feed.
Yeah. Okay, and I successfully changed everything.
Non-null string to a text widget. Okay, so can you go back to main?
Yeah. Okay, so we're passing our feed in there, and it should be, it's this one of these two probably. Items should be returning our episode. Which seems to be coming from that. Is our parse not parsing correctly?
Or do we have some what do we add one level of interaction somehow? Let's see.
Maybe.
Okay, so we are mapping or wrapping the feed in episode feed.
Mm-hmm.
And then for each item, we wrap it in an episode. And
so we're taking that RSS item segment here, which is, well, so I guess I think this is where our indirection is missing, because our episode is that list item here. So we have, wait, no, but we should. Okay, yes. So
Oh,
episode.title is still null.
I.item.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So there's our indirection.
Yeah, okay. Gross. Do we... Oh. Because, and otherwise we have to...
Well, can we just define this as a copying constructor? And so rather than having the item in here,
maybe we'll reverse. Well, I think we're gonna have to write every single.
Ooh.
But it's.
We really just need the title and description.
Yeah.
We can start there.
Okay. And
to
we'll
get it
have
working.
To do if need more. Okay, so. Oh man, this is why mixins are really nice. It's because you don't have to re-implement everything.
Yes. I guess we could start with just some getters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Returns item.title.
Oh, okay, you're gonna do that rather than... I thought you were saying...
Yeah, I was. What do you think would be better?
It's like 6-1 after the other. I guess it's probably better to not... To hold it and just... Right,
because we already have the data. We don't want to copy it to...
Okay. Sigh.
Yeah. Oh, there we're getting better already. Hot reload has saved us again. Cool.
You might clear the console just to make sure there's no other bugs.
Yeah.
Okay. And then try going to the other page. Woo.
Okay, so we need our URL as well. URL. It's the GUID instead.
Yeah.
Relevant error causing widget was that.
Oh, what's the error?
What is it calling?
URL is called unknown. Where is URL? So we are still calling URL somewhere.
Yeah. From there? Yeah.
Feed.
Oh, is this the same issue just with the episode feed?
So we need image. Oh,
but on the feed. So
Fine.
It's the same issue here. Oh boy.
What have we done? All so that we don't notify all the widgets.
Yeah.
Isn't it image?
Yes, you're right.
And then the type of that is... Let's hover over.
RSS. Okay. Let's re-implement that one too while we're here. I joke. Okay.
Phew.
All right.
Okay.
Better.
All right. So now, back to the
actual issue at hand.
Yeah.
Because we were all doing this whole thing so that this download thing would work better.
Mm-hmm. So.
Okay.
Uncommented.
Comment.
And now we want the individual item.
Yeah.
Which is I, right? That's
yes.
our version episode, not the
episode.
I think it should be just right here.
Oh, so can we just do I.download?
Yeah.
I.download I. Do we need that in the download anymore since we have that?
No, we don't.
Okay, so go back to our episode and we can remove that thing. And it should just work because I think we named it the same.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's our item, which I guess, should we name that with an underscore because of convention?
Yeah.
Probably download location too.
But download location we're looking up, right?
Okay, fair. Yep.
We're hiding the fact that we're wrapping it. Hiding it poorly, but we're hiding it.
Yes. Okay, so back to here. Let's check our problems. Nope, only issues.
Clear our debug console just for good
Console,
measure.
clear. We'll save again.
Maybe hard restart just to start everything afresh. Ooh, we have problems.
All right, this is let's see, cancel was called on null, which was from our playback button because we haven't clicked through there yet.
Oh.
But why is it being called?
Can you do a restart again? Okay, we're gonna visit that in the future.
Yeah. Should we add another random to do?
Yeah, cancel being called on null. Is that what it said?
Where was that?
Was that maybe because we changed what we were like pointing to? Because it was like a RSS item, and then we changed it to an episode, and like.
Maybe. I vaguely remember seeing this before when I was playing around with it before.
Okay, well then stick it to do. Yeah. I don't know what I would say though.
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow this gets called from episode list and breaks everything.
Awesome.
Descriptive comments.
Okay, so
all right. This looks unused.
Click to player just to make sure. So we got that. So this is going to be streaming.
Yeah, so we can do that and we can check our sound. That works. Great.
Stop it.
Stop.
And then let's go back.
And we should be able to download. And we're downloading. Okay, we have no print statement for complete because we removed it.
Yeah, maybe we haven't updated the UI yet.
No, this entire thing is so that we can do that, but we're getting there.
Yes.
And so we should be able to see when we hit play here, that start player local URL, which plays correctly.
Sweet.
Excellent. Let's stop.
Can we squeeze in a little UI update? Or is that we're
getting close to time. Yeah. Let's see, where would we do that? Where did our download go?
In main.
Download. Okay.
All right. So we have what we want is to wrap icon button in a consumer.
Okay. Let's start there.
And
of episode? Because that's where our download status is.
And then we would say consumer.
Needs builder.
And also, oh no. I just realized, wait, this may not work. Okay, so what I was realizing that we have, like, provider looks by the type. And if we have a list of episodes all of the same type.
Okay.
And so it might not know, but I think we're okay because it's the immediate one in this super tree and like just above it in the tree, as opposed to like a list. I think. I hope we didn't do all this for nothing.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Let's find out.
Okay.
If not, then we know and we can have it to do for next time.
We have here.
So, what we want to do is say, like, if episode is if we have a download location, so it's not equal null, then we might just we'll do our icon button thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So child. And then otherwise, we'd probably just return a container.
Like just an empty container?
Yeah. And you don't even need that else, but...
Yeah. True. Okay, so I'll probably need to... Looks like I'll need to do that.
Ooh.
Oh, uh-oh. Get her...
this one was called a null.
From... there...
Wait, where is? How do we know where that is?
I don't know. I just clicked on.
Oh, 196. 196 is up.
Yeah, it's right there.
Visible is called unknown. What
Um,
the heck?
but the child's not null, the container's not null. So the builder's always returning
I don't even know where the visible is
non-null.
called.
I don't know either. Is it visible?
you-
Nope.
Expand this error. Like expand the window. Oh, it's just over.
That's just over
list
that
view.
over and over.
List view visible. Just for grins, can you like stick in like another container? Just container.
Just like right here.
Yeah. Just make sure it's not.
Nope, same
No,
thing.
it's not that. And just for grins, let's just return child always. I don't think this is.
Well, I had that before we added
Oh,
the.
and it was already
still doing that. Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Visible is called under. So I'm gonna do an error search.
And that's not. I mean that came up when we introduced the consumer, right? So is it trying to call visible on the consumer?
Getter visible.
I'm gonna look into. Let's click through to list view, and trailing does not exist here.
List view visible. I don't know what is null here.
Tried calling visible. Yeah, I don't know. The getter visible was called on null. So it would seem to me that whatever you pass into trailing, list view is probably trying to call trailing dot visible. That's my guess.
And for some reason, consumer is null. Because if we take that out, we take out consumer and just return.
Right. So let's just comment those out.
And
Trailing container
It
should
goes
give
away.
us trailing widget consumes. Please use a sized widget. Okay,
size
so
box. Or container with a
Size.
size, that works too.
Yeah. I guess.
Okay. So
Okay, so that
it doesn't like consumer for some reason. Recomment or re-uncomment.
re-uncomment
The
the consumer.
consumer and then return a. Oh, this is different.
Oh,
But okay.
that okay.
Could not find correct provider. Oh, that's what I was afraid of.
Uh-oh. Shoot.
Okay. So what we know is that you cannot because there are multiple episodes of all the same type, provider is confused and it can't find it. So all that refactoring unfortunately was for naught. Or not all the refactoring, but the latest refactoring.
Yes.
Of wrapping those RSS item and stuff. So I think what we will need to do next time is go back to that map and notify listeners, notify everyone.
Right.
Unless we think of another smart way to do it.
Yes, but I think that'll have to be for the next time because we are out of time this time.
So stay tuned for how we get our app out of this terrible state.
Yep. We'll figure it out.
Thanks to state management.
Yep. We use state management and now we're here. Thank you.
Well, so in summary, we added the downloads. We're properly playing from download,
Yep.
and we are fixing up our UI so that you can only download once.
Yes. And we are on our way to having that download button go away when the download is complete. So
see you next time.
See you next time.